Okay, dissection time tonight. One of the creatures we did not dissect, I only had a few of them, so I was going to do a demo for you. Back when we did the sharks, we were dealing with kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata, and class Chondrichthyes. The shark, of course, was the kingpin of that particular group, but the other members, the rays, the manta rays, the stingrays, the skates, these are some very interesting little animals themselves. I've got a stingray here. This is kind of a small one, but it's good because it fits in the dissection pan. What you're looking at right now is a dorsal view, and I'm going to flip it up so you can see both sides. You can see the dark dorsal side. If I flip it over, real light ventral side, so a great example of counter shading. Some of the other real neat features this animal has, the extended fins on each side give it this butterfly shape almost. It's a great glider. It can glide through the water at a real low altitude, meaning almost on the bottom. And what that does is it gives it a great advantage for camo, because at almost any given instant, it can just drop to the bottom of the ocean, shake these fins a little bit, and cover itself with sand or silt. And if you look near the anterior end, where I'm pointing up here, you'll see two eyes. It can actually leave those eyes above the sand, above the silt, so that it can see its prey, or possibly see a predator coming after it. And then it can make its move when it comes time to go out and feed on it. This also has a couple spiracles right behind each eye. Those are the holes that allow air to come in along with the water. This will extract oxygen from the water in the gill chambers. So these spiracles let that water, which contains the air, come in. As well as on the ventral side, the mouth does too. You can see this little ray at the very posterior end. Looks almost like a little tail. In some of the stingrays, this is really developed. It might be anywhere in some of the larger stingrays, 6 inches up to 18, 24 inches long. Steve Irwin, one of the famous crocodile man, was killed by one of these. In fact, it actually pierced his heart. So they're definitely something to be reckoned with if you're swimming around with stingrays. But for the most part, these animals certainly aren't going to attack you unless you're trying to mess around with them. Then they might use that ray to attempt to defend themselves. So if we flip it over, look at a little bit of the ventral side. There isn't a whole lot to see, but I'm really not sure if you can see it real well with the camera or not. When I'm done with this, I'll try to edit it if not, and maybe you can show you a different view. But what you can see right here is the mouth, okay? And then you'll see some nasal openings. I've got the probe in each of the nasal openings right here. And they do, of course, take in odors. They do have chemical sensors inside these nasal openings. They're actually cells inside the walls of these tubes that lead from the nasal openings that are lined with olfactory cells. Those olfactory cells detect smells, so they can detect chemical changes in the water. The mouth is right here. I've actually stuck the end of the probe in the mouth. You can barely see it probably from the video, but the mouth isn't real big, okay? It does have some teeth, razor sharp teeth, similar to what you found in the shark, but not nearly as ominous as the shark teeth. But they are sharp enough to cut apart some prey. And if you look real carefully, you'll see the gill slits right here. I'm actually kind of exposing some of the crud that's inside here from preservative that's coming out of each one of these gill slits. When I push on it, you can see it kind of squeeze out there. So we have gill slits here and gill slits here that lead to the gill chambers. The heart lies right between those gill chambers, right about in this location, which I'll actually show you one in a minute. And most of the internal organs are in this area right here. This happens to be a male. It has two claspers. The claspers are used in the mating process so that it can get a better grip on the female. And also from the claspers, the sperm can be delivered along a tiny tube that's embedded in each one of these. All right, let's go to the other one here. So we've already got this one opened up, save a little bit of time. What are we seeing inside? I've got one of the gill chambers opened up here so you can see the gills. No surprise here, they look almost identical to the gills you saw in the shark. Feathery, there's a lot of surface area, so each one of the gills has a gill bar, a gill raker, and gill filaments. The filaments are the real fine little structures that actually do the removal of oxygen and transfer of carbon dioxide into the bloodstream. So as water passes over the gills, over the filaments, over the real fine, delicate parts of these, oxygen that's trapped in the water will be absorbed into these filaments. And at the same time, from the bloodstream of the stingray, the carbon dioxide that actually is waste material will be expelled into the water. Okay, if you look right here, this structure is the heart. Okay, the muscular part right here is the part that pumps, and the not so muscular tube-like soft structure that I'm touching right here is the atrium. So we have the ventricle portion of the heart for pumping. That's this part right here. Tough muscular part, pumps blood through the body. And the deoxygenated blood returns back to this atrium so that it can be infused again with oxygen, and then the blood can be pumped back out from the ventricle to the body. No surprise here, big liver, big massive lobes of liver. So I'm going to remove those, or just kind of peel them back real quick here. In fact, I'm going to cut part of this off. So again, what I'm taking out is liver lobes right now. And it gives us just a little better view anyway. Underneath the liver, again, just like you saw in the shark and a couple of the other animals that you've dissected so far, like the frog and the perch, tucked under the liver is this little bag here. I don't know what it's going to show up like on the video, but you can see it's kind of a dark green. That little bag is the gallbladder. It stores bile that's produced by the liver. So again, the liver produces bile. The stingray doesn't need bile all the time. The bile is used to help break down fats, emulsify fats. So the more fatty content of the food that it eats, that will need some more bile to help to emulsify that fat and make digestion a little bit easier. But since it doesn't always eat high content fat foods, then some of that bile just gets stored there in the gallbladder. Actually, the same thing happens with you. So go back to the digestive tract. If we follow the from the mouth through the what we would call the chest, just underneath the gill chamber here, a large esophagus that extends to this structure. Let me get a probe here. Okay, this structure right here, this is the stomach. Okay, and the curved part here is called the pylorus. The stomach has trapped in the center of that pylorus, I'll get my finger underneath it so you can see it, this gland right here. To you, it probably looks kind of gray, dark green, or light green, or kind of a gray. That's the pancreas. Okay, the pancreas is going to regulate the carbohydrate contents in this animal. It also secretes a lot of digestive enzymes in any of the members of Chondrichthyes. Okay, so the stomach and pylorus take a sharp turn to the intestine right here. The intestine in this animal is more of just a single tube-shaped structure. In your body, of course, you have the duodenum, the ileum, the jejunum, and then the colon, which makes up a large, extensive network. In some of these lower vertebrates, the intestine is a much shorter structure, and a lot of the chemical absorption occurs there rather quickly. Okay, so this is the intestine, and the intestine, I made a cut through here so you can see that it kind of becomes just a tube that delivers any kind of waste into the cloaca. Now the cloaca would be this opening right here, the cloacal opening. Again, not sure how well you can see it, but this place that looks kind of vacant, all right, there at the tip of my probe, that's the cloaca. And it was a little bag-like structure, but it broke open when I cut it open today here. So what else do we have inside here? A pair of kidneys, okay? There's a kidney right here. If you look at the curved part of my probe, I'm actually going to touch it right there. There's a kidney that's embedded against the back side, the dorsal side. Here's another one over here. The kidneys filter wastes from the blood. Do a great job, by the way, of filtering waste. And then that's what happens with your kidneys as well. So a lot of the chordates have pretty much identical functions, if not identical, very close, from organ to organ. So the structures just sometimes look a little bit different. And this thing that I'm flopping here with the probe, this is the spleen. The spleen is a blood purifier. It also kind of acts along with the liver, with the kidneys to help to filter some waste, but a little more activity that the spleen will handle is not only purifying blood, but producing red blood cells and helping with the immune system by producing several types of cells for immunity. So that is pretty much the internal structure of what we're looking at today. Now, coming up in the next week or two, I will be doing a few more dissections for you for some of the animals that I just have enough of for demonstration purposes. I know I have a snake. I'll probably do a rat. I don't think I have any pigeons in there to do a bird for you, but we'll see what we can find. I believe I have a cow heart that we might get at. I have a cow eye. So I'll find a few other things to give you a little bit more background of an internal anatomy. So, all right, hope you're all staying safe. Take care. Do your homework. Help your parents around the house. And we'll talk to you later.